Hello, thank you for coming. My name is Rachel and I've been the team lead for this RPIW Rapid Process Improvement Week. I was invited to join the team at Chapel Allerton to explore and understand the problems. Ultimately, the Trust want to increase theatre utilisation and cases per session, but we knew there was more to the problem than this. The first day I sat in the scheduler's office, my mind was a little bit blown with how much information they hold in their heads, how much they know, how many issues they have to deal with, and how the patient experience is affected by short notice cancellations, short notice changes and cancellations ultimately. We had our project form here, so we were really clear on what we were aiming to do. And we had some targets which John's going to talk us through in a little bit more detail as well. The main thing that I picked up on was that this process wasn't working. And when we sent out the survey to stakeholders in all of the process, all the different teams that were involved from ward, pre-assessment, scheduling and theatres, it wasn't good. So on a scale of 1 to 5, people only rated the current process as a 1 or a 2 out of 5. So we wanted to do something about that. I'd also like to note that 87% of patients hadn't been to pre-assessment when they were given a TCF.
Hello, my name is John and I'm the process owner for the RPIW. I'd like to talk to you around some of the objectives, and this is the value stream map. We had a takt time of 35 minutes to find and list one patient and book the TCI based on the demand of 64 patients per week. To list and book the patient was taking roughly around 1 hour and 45 minutes. This was the lead time. This was due to the amount of information we needed to confirm and review and the wait time around it. There was lots of interruptions whilst trying to plan. The team was listing around 2 weeks forward. The patient was given a TCI before actually being confirmed fit. 31 patients were cancelled in March, April and May, and 4 patients were cancelled twice. The aim was to try and list a patient within 15 minutes. All lists to be filled and locked down 2 weeks forward. And the baseline measure was 69% of the lists were filled 2 weeks out.
Hello, my name is Gaz, team member of the RPIW. I wanted to talk about how we collaborated together with different staff members, consultants, nursing team, schedulers, and the clerical team. In this discussion, we discussed what was important and what would be wasted time, as you can see in the flow charts, i.e. the pink post-it notes as waste. We managed to agree and reduce, starting from the first clinic appointment right through to TCI given, as you can see in the future state mapping to meet the gold standard. We also looked at scheduling to see how we could reduce time in finding patients, which we did a test run, and to see how it runs, if it runs more smoothly. We were very much surprised with the time taken, showing a massive reduction in time. I'm very proud and empowered that we have accomplished something that we thought would never work, and having someone like Rachel, who was actually here, who listened and saw our struggles, I'm now able to look forward to working in the new way, as my patients are very important to me, as I have a good relationship with them, and good feedback from surgeons when patients seen in clinic after surgery, and this showing the lead's way around patient-centred and the service hopefully running more smoothly.
Hi, I'm Carolina, and I'm a team member in this RPIW team. This whole week has definitely been the biggest eye-opener and an absolute game changer. I'm looking forward to the future and to improve our patients' journeys and lives. The main idea we have agreed to test was for the patients to be pre-assessed and deemed fit before being given a TCI date. This will definitely take a lot of the pressure from the clerical team, will improve staff morale and ultimately patients' experience. It will save us from having to find last-minute pre-assessment slots that are just not there, or having to change appointments and having awkward conversations with patients to do this. I can confidently say, and I know I speak for all of us, the admin team, that having to book a pre-assessment for the same week or sometimes for the week after, it is our most dreaded task. A patient being given a TCI date not only when deemed fit will change the way we do things in the office, as not knowing if a patient is fit or not interferes with every other task we do in the office. Feeling that my ideas and opinions were not only welcome, but also accepted has been amazing. Having Rachel and Catherine telling me, show us, and not just tell us, and we'll see what we can do, made all the difference. They literally sat down with me and they were able to see the challenges that we as a clerical team face doing what's supposed to be just an easy and straightforward task. Encouragement and acceptance were given at all times to challenge certain ways of working that have now been proven to be unnecessary and just time-consuming.
Hello, my name is Kasia. I am a team member in this RPIW. In this week, schedules have been shown how to use PTL. I think by doing that, we are more empowered to make a decision. By validating lists from different perspectives, make more work more standardized. So us as schedules have the same understanding of organization, target, and pressure. We also looked to reduce the waste of time by our clerical officers. So the work is not duplicated. We are going to put into practice that the schedules will TCI patients from past. So our clerical officer use fewer systems and the error are not minimalized.
Hi, my name is Anita. I'm a member of the RPIW team. So I was listing the patients with Mr. Amade into theatres, which showed him how he can help advise and the suitability and the procedures of the patients that he wanted to list. Having the clarification and confirmation, he was happy of how the list was completed, but it also gave him extra time to see if there's any extra equipment required or any amendments he needed before we listed the patients. Also, I'm making my process a lot smoother and as a scheduler and less stressful. Doing this well in advance would avoid any late cancellations and any late refill or late notification of patients. And as the waiting list is quite extensive, he was also able to validate patients and to be re-seen in clinic as not being seen in the last 12 months, to do extra updates of x-rays. And also we tested having protected time when we listed patients, because at the moment we are interrupted and we're taking approximately 22% of our time being with all the interruptions and phone calls. But after the protected time, it was reduced down to 2%. And so just to answer one call, but which works which was seen as an excellent progress. Sorry.
Hi, my name is Sophie and I've been a team member in the RPIW. During the week, the team had generated so many ideas, we couldn't test them this week, but there are some ideas that we're going to test over the next 30 days and we've put them onto an action log. And some of those ideas are, one of them is around how we engage patients with the PHR process, that's the digital perioperative pathway. And we're going to work with our outpatients, surgeons and outpatient clinical staff around engaging at that point that the surgical booking form is completed. And we're going to do some work to look at how we book the pre-assessment appointment in terms of the templating and making it clear for everybody to see what appointment is needed, who they need to see. And aligning with that is how we send the letter to the patient. So at the moment, if you book 4 pre-assessment slots, the patient gets 4 letters. So actually, can we send them 1 letter irrespective of how many slots they've got on that day? And we're going to work as a team to look at that. And then one other piece of work we're going to look at is 7 days before a patient comes in, they receive a phone call, often from one of the clerical team, to ask a few questions. We're going to refine those questions, going to make sure we only ask what's relevant, and then look at digitalising that to release some time from our clinical teams.
Hi, my name is Emily and I'm a team member on the RPIW. One other action which is out of scope this week, but is one that we would like to explore, is patients having their height and weight checked in surgical outpatient clinic so that a surgeon is aware of their BMI in clinic. Sometimes patients with BMIs over 40 are listed and then cancelled. So to move towards the gold standard future process, which Gaz mentioned earlier, hopefully that would reduce cancellations due to BMI. Also, John, who's the business manager, is going to look at introducing achievement production boards and huddles every week to motivate the team and make targets more visible.
And Catherine Essex-Jones has been part of this week as our workshop lead, helping us to keep on track and facilitate the whole week. Unfortunately, she can't be with us today, but the workshop lead would normally share the lessons learned, and these are what we talked about together. So that benefit of having the time out from the work to really focus on improving it, to have that headspace and thinking time, and that the people who do the work are able to come up with those ideas. Having that dedicated time, we did have all 3 schedulers in the RPIW, which is unusual. Usually we leave a team member back to continue the work, but we managed to do that, sort of bringing people in and out a little bit. So the team have managed to keep on top of their work as well as being part of this RPIW. So I think that's a fantastic credit to them. I think another benefit of how much we've achieved is that we kept the scope very small, because we were able to test and refine those ideas, and we actually got to the point yesterday of creating standard work, which very rarely happens on an RPIW that we get to that point. So we've agreed a standard to test, and we've got things now to make sure that that maintains over the next 30, 60 and 90 days, which is when we'll do the remeasures to see how things have progressed. Personally, for me, I think building the relationships with the team prior to the event has been massively helpful in being able to understand the problem, the nuances around it, and sort of building that trust so that they feel I'm not trying to take over their jobs, that they are empowered to do the work. And the value of having Milad as a surgeon representative, he was with us for the first half of the week, and being able to test things live with him and get his input and his point of view has been fantastic as well. So I'd like to just share a few thank yous. So thank you to Catherine, who unfortunately isn't here today. Some of our other team members who are not with us today. So Milad was with us at the start of the week. Thank you to him. Paloma's been representing the pre-assessment team. So she's been a massive help in communicating back to the pre-assessment team and coming up with ideas and helping us to test, having that fit list. Ravi is our assistant business manager. Unfortunately, he's unable to be with us as well, but he's been fantastic as well in encouraging the team and helping to put some change ideas forward. And we were really lucky to have Stephen from theatres with us on the Monday to bring in a theatres perspective and the kit issues that sometimes come up. They were out of scope specifically, but we were able to consider what impact that had on the schedule. Thank you to the home teams, to our clerical officers who've been continuing the work, keeping things going and allowing the space for the rest of us to be here in this room. Thank you to Deborah and Julie for popping in and checking how things were going and helping us to think ideas and run past them. And James, the matron as well, he's been amazing to think about what's possible. And to the Tri team, Dan, Sarah, and Steve hasn't been with us this week, but he's one of our sponsors who's been able to give us, I think, the main thing that we took forward is that we had permission to do what we wanted to do. Let's break it down if we need to scrap everything, and we've got permission to start again, and the team have done an amazing job to do that. So yeah, thank you to everyone that's been involved, and that's it from us from our formal presentation. So I'll hand it back if anyone's got any questions.
I'm always happy with questions, but I'm going to give the floor first and then I'll come back. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ian Braden, Director of Operations for Planned Care. I'm coming at Chapel Allerton Hospital as well. It has been absolutely fantastic. Really enjoyed this. This follows on from a lot of conversations Dan and I have had, Sophie and I have had in recent months. And I know we had the optimisation week here, which was an important springboard for this for us at Chapel Allerton. And what's been really impressive is that momentum's kept going, and all of the things that we see as an organisation around what's happening in the theatres up here is absolutely heading in the right direction. In fact, you're the most improved of all of the theatre areas in our organisation this financial year. So very well done. And this has been planned to be, and Dan's been talking to me about this for a little while, about just how important this is to get this part of the process right. Because if we don't get this part of the process right, then stuff doesn't happen in theatres, does it? And I really what I took away from this was as I'm listening to it. So you probably recognise this. A number of times we sort of sit down and talk about things, and I sort of this look comes over my face and go, sorry, we do what? You know, this notion that we book patients in for surgery before we know they're actually fit to have surgery. No, I love the fact you take the permission to step back and go, madness, utter madness, right? Let's restart looking at that. You know, it has probably evolved over years and years of practice and just become the way it's been done. And now we've had the chance to take a week out, step back and go, that's not the best thing for our patients. It's not the best thing for our services, and it's not the best thing for getting the most patients treated through Chapel Allerton theatres. So everything I've heard, I've been absolutely delighted by. I really want to congratulate you as a team on what you've achieved this week and the momentum you're going to take forward from this. My question, I don't know whether I will see anybody in the room who might be able to answer it from a consultant and senior clinician perspective, but that bit around, I think it was Anita, you were talking about the experience of sitting by the surgeon and actually having their involvement. What's the plans in terms of trying to sustain that? And you know, was it really crucial, did you feel, and therefore do we need to put greater emphasis on that being the way that we practice in the future?
Because quite a number of consultants know their patients, and if they have somebody in particular in mind that needs to be more urgent, we can sort of block out a theatre list for that one patient and pull in small procedures. And they're quite happy to sort of to go through, and I say Miss Madden was quite happy to go through and look at the theatre list and look at the patient's procedures and say, yeah, I can add a small one on there. That the time on booking forms not a bit more excessive, so I can just add a little one. So it gave him the scope, and he was really happy to with the outcome that he could, but not in control of having the theatre list, but he was able to help and confirm, and then it gave less time to cancel patients. If I had sent the list out 2 weeks in advance, they come back to me and go, oh no, that's not right. So he was able to confirm.
And we were looking 6 weeks ahead as well.
Yeah,
so we're looking at a list of any patients we can fill from the waiting list. And I think it opened up Millard's eyes in terms of what these guys actually do. John, do you want to share on the plan for scaling that up and following it up?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I'm going to take that to Paul Cowling, who's the lead clinician for orthopaedics. Just from having that on his conversation with Millard, he was like, 2 heads are better than one. When it comes to planning, you know, and he very much like, I do want to have an input and I do want that support. So we're looking at probably making sure that there's a regular meeting put in with the consultants on a weekly basis with their scheduler to talk about the patients, to talk about the PTL, the number of patients that are waiting, you know, and making sure that we're doing timely reviews of the patients that are C-coded. You know, we've got a really good grip and control now with us E-coded patients. You know, we have a weekly meeting that's in place. It's called the PATO meeting. And we have got really good, I think we had over 69 patients at one point, and I think we're down below just over 10 patients now. And that's not just from one person, that's from a group, you know, that's from the pre-assessment nurses working alongside the admin teams upstairs. But yeah, I do advocate this regular meeting with the consultants. It will become best practice in making sure that we're scheduling that way.
Just comment that came out of that meeting, something that Ian's been passionate about. Millard realised that he had long waiters who he needed to see in outpatients before he listed. So he was saying to Anita, oh, no, I need to consent then. Oh, I've not seen them for a year.
Yeah.
And so Ian and I have talked before about how do we stop people being cancelled, because when they turn up on the day they don't want it, it's not what they want, what they need.
2 years, a lot of them. The ones that we found on the list hadn't been seen in clinics since 2024.
So now Millard's actually got them to come to clinic before, like Anita's gone, well, they could come in September. So they're really thinking about that whole strategic thing as opposed to just next week, tomorrow, in the future.
Yeah. It's a real long goal, isn't it, for us? I think we, at last count, 9.9% of patients were cancelled on the day of their surgery as our organisation. It's a staggering volume. All the work that's gone into that patient coming in order to find something avoidable had occurred, and then we've gone through that patient and we've got the opportunity to treat somebody else as well. In that same space, it's a double whammy really. So
And
bring that
cancellations,
cancellation debt rate down.
that's one of our metrics that we haven't been able to impact in the week, but we'll track over time to see whether what we've done now will impact.
It's hard to follow you. I'm Dan, I'm the General Manager for Chapel Allerton. I've looked back at this board, which I described to Rachel as a board of chaos in a sense of all the lines following it.
It's funny how it makes sense, isn't it?
One of the messages at the start of the week that was really keen that we took forward was the right patient gets surgery at the right time. And I think everything I've heard from everybody really backs that statement, and it puts the patient at the front of the process, whereas I think it's felt, peer review is felt, the patient was somewhat coming behind the process, which is where we want to be. There are real opportunities and there are takeaways for me around, if we think about the hub optimization, we had a larger group of surgeons who managed to get to that, and there's a real enthusiasm for them to do that joined up piece with scheduling. And for me, I think there's some takeaways in this about how we help you guys connect those dots, and I'd be keen to support Paul, John, yourself and others in looking at that, because that's the important part. We also have some really good foundational huddle boards in place. We have some really good group control. What you talked about is how you're going to grow them, and anyone who knows me well enough knows that's going to tick all my boxes. It's important that you keep this empowered enthusiasm going forward. You are the teams that shape the way we deliver this, and I think it has to come from you. And I just really loved it from my point of view that I sit here and listen to everybody taking that lead. I think it's hard to take that lead. It's easy to sit in the back seat and somewhat just not coast, but the work comes to you. Actually, what you've done is taken the bull by the horns to really push the narrative. So just be proud of yourselves. I think for what you've done within the week. I think thank you, Rachel, for pulling this together. I think it's been a really important piece of work that I'm sure everybody would accept is it's going to change the direction of travel. So I'm excited to see how that progresses.
Thanks, Dan. And Sophie and Paloma did a lot of work making some lovely signs that are going to go up in the office, because we really want to focus on celebrating the success. And I think it's felt like, for various reasons, that the targets have increased the pressure on the team, and actually they've done an amazing job. Our utilisation rates have gone up to the target. We've met the target recently. So we're reaching 80%, and we're targeting 85% of utilisation, but the progression has been good. But we were working still in an inefficient process. Now we've got a process where the team do feel that they're doing much better, and have more time to do the job properly and with care, and making sure the right people are in the right place to reduce the defects, the things that go wrong for us. So, but I'm really keen that we're celebrating just how many patients have you listed today. I think, so Ravi isn't here, but at the start of the week we talked about the tack time. So on average, 64 patients get orthopaedic surgery in a week, which is 12.8 patients a day. So for this team, we need to schedule 13 patients a day. That's one scheduler, and we've got 3. And Ravi's brain, when he was like, so that means they only have to schedule 4 patients each. he was mind blown. And even the tack time of 35 minutes, you should have 35 minutes to book a patient. It seems so easy to do, but it isn't, because of all the workarounds and duplications and complications that are in the process. So the team have worked really hard to try and get rid of all of that, so that we can get more into that pace of the work, and also the flow for the patients, so that they're getting their pre-assessment in a timely manner, and then they're getting the surgery in a timely manner, and we're not having any repeated